Holy, holy, holy are the God Knights almighty? You see, everyone right now is going crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, cuckoo for the hype over a person that could be named Stabs and his holy knights. Of course, Stabs being the twin brother of Shanks. Shout outs to Twilight from my Twitch tier 3 for that one. Great name for the supposed twin brother of Shanks. But here are the facts. In the latest chapter of One Piece 1083, the God Knights / the Holy Knights, the same folks that I kind of talked about in chapter 1054, get a lot of spice. We're talking about ghost chili pepper infused sauce from Monkey D. Dragon himself. He states in the official chapter release that the celestial dragons won't sit idly by letting their supply routes be destroyed by revolutionaries, and the real fighting begins when they, the Tenryubito, start to mobilize the holy Knights. Holy, holy, holy. And Ivankov even adds on top of that Sabo is going to be the main target for the Holy Knights. So this right here is a lot of spice that they're using for the sauce to put on top of this Holy Knight hamburger. And given the silhouettes, there potentially are 9 patties to put the sauce on top of, because there are 9 people among the Holy Knights given the silhouettes. And again, given Dragon's words and given Ivankov's words, they gotta be a fearsome bunch. Allegedly, right? Huh? You see, the real question here is, how fearsome are they, and who could they possibly be? So I did a Twitter poll the other day on this topic, but put the brakes on. But before I get to that and focus the response to my Twitter question, let's take a stab. Let's take a stab in the dark and try and guess who's a who. Who could the Holy Knights be? Because there are some very good options that are not, let's say, just Shanks' twin brother Stabs. So first things first, the take on this, as I understand it, is that the person who met the 5 elders, the Gorosei, in chapter 907 was not Shanks, but one of the members of the Holy Knights / God Knights. There have always been questions about how Shanks could sneak his way into Pangaea Castle, have a meeting with the elders, and no one noticed that it was red hair Shanks. The elders themselves make statements like, given your standing, you should have nothing to do with politics, alluding to a long time familiarity with quote-unquote Shanks. They are also very comfortable around Shanks in that chapter, where before the time skip, when Shanks and Whitebeard had just a meeting, they were on edge and sweating profusely in chapter 433. So would they really be comfortable around an emperor like Shanks? Really? Considering their fear of just Shanks meeting Whitebeard.
Confusion.
It seems a bit odd in the grand scheme of things. And then another thing on top of this is that folks did notice that in chapter 107, you cannot see Shanks' scar that creeps up his forehead like you can see in chapter 434 when Shanks is drawn in a similar way. Then there are the comparisons between silhouettes we see in chapter 1083 versus Shanks' own silhouette when he's posed up in chapter 1055 when he begins to psych out Greenbow. Some people are saying that those silhouettes have very similar figures. Finally, there is an interview by Oda where the interviewer asks him about Shanks being two different people, and it was in reference to sometimes the scar being missing on Shanks' face, and then also in relation to the speed Shanks got to Marineford after fighting against Kaido. And in this interview it just so happens that that part is censored from the interview, which of course obviously it gets the mind jogging. So that is the story of Shanks' twin brother Stabs, the man the five elders actually talked to in chapter 907, not Shanks. Not gonna say it's likely, but considering Oda's interview and the focus in both chapter 907 and also the episode version of that chapter 887, not showing the scar on Shanks' face, it's not off the table. Keep in mind that could still easily be Shanks himself, and he's using his Conqueror's Haki to hide his presence, or what's now known to as observation killing, to sneak in very stealthily and talk to the elders. And it seems to be known that Shanks tries to maintain balance in the world. So at that point in time, they would have no issues talking to Shanks if that is genuinely Shanks. But again, I will admit, his twin brother Stabs is not off the table. However, there are other options that still involve Shanks, but through other potential other family members. And specifically, of course, we're talking about the Figar Land family. Now, the Figar Land family bloodline was first mentioned in One Piece film Red, where the five elders ponder if Uta is a part of this family, being that she is Shanks's daughter. It's also shown in that same movie and also stated in the Chronicles of Uta online booklet that Shanks was found in a treasure chest around the God Valley incident by Roger and company. And God Valley could have been a location frequented by celestial dragons, since during the God Valley incident, which was 38 years ago, the world nobles and their slaves were there for some unknown reason. And of course, given the terminology of God Valley, gods live on high, but they descend into this valley, aka the lower realm, specifically on this island for whatever reason, which knowing them is probably not a wholesome reason. So Shanks could be related to the celestial dragons, of course, in some way. And the Holy Knights might be his actual blood family, or at least somewhat related to his blood related family. That is why the silhouette of the God Knights, at least the guy in front, resembles Shanks in some ways. They are Figar Land, and Figar Land are the enforcers of the law.
What law?
They are the enforcers of the law in the Holy Land, and they have the right to manage disputes between world nobles. So in theory, just how the Uchiha clan way back when, before the Itachi massacre, were the police force of Konoha, all with red eyes, the Figar Land fam could be the law bearers of the Holy Land, all with red hair. However, let's keep it a stack here. Let's keep it a stack and keep this in mind. Even though we have seen 9 figures when Dragon speaks about the Holy Knights, and one of them, just one of them, has some sort of Shanks vibe about them. Meh. That's a meh.
What the fuck is this?
This could honest to God be nothing, zero, zilch, nothing at all. As I mentioned in my official chapter review for 1083, there are many cases where the silhouettes mean absolutely jack all for how the characters were designed later on the story when it was time for their proper reveals. So we're talking about the Warlord silhouettes in chapter 69, or Big Mom and Kaido silhouettes in chapter 432. They look nothing. They look absolutely nothing. They look nothing like what their actual designs are compared to their silhouette versions. Even in chapter 920, this dude Oden, the Chad of Wano, in his silhouette, he has a thick Pablo Escobar mustache. And while that would be cool, the Chad of Wano clearly has no hair in that region. On his head, it's disgusting. Like, I don't know I have no idea why it's that flat. Like, without a doubt, big ups to the Wano country stylist. But the fact of the matter is that mustache is non-existent. So we cannot take the silhouettes at face value, I'd argue. And there is another great option for who the Holy Knights could be. And if you're wondering, this is absolutely not the entire red hair pirate crew as some folks are thinking. No, hell no, absolutely. The entire red, no, I digress. Another great option though would be the strongest member, or let's say even the most influential members from each of the Holy Land clans. You see, most of the time they have the title Saint prefix added to their names without their surnames being shown. But we know that they have to have surnames because they were the descendants of the 19 kings who established the world government. Of course, we exclude the Nefertari family, but the Don Quixote family were specifically noted to with their surnames. Mjolnir has his surname shown in chapter 107, and Don Quixote Homing also has his surname noted to in chapter 763. So even though we don't know it yet, Rose Ward, his whole family, of course, they all must have surnames that tie way back when to these 19 kings that established the world government. So what if each of the member of the Holy Knights is the most distinguished person in that clan, plus let's say have done some extremely rigorous training in a combat style similar to, let's say, the 6 powers, the Rokushiki that the Marines use, but let's say even in their case, it's super extra unique. Ooh. Therefore, they all are devastating fighters, and given their position in their clans, they could attain the status of God Knight. And what I will add too is that given the comments by Dragon, Ivankov, Akainu, and the reaction of people around them, it seems like people know of the existence of the God Knights. Therefore, it seems to me unlikely that it would be Imu itself to be the one to choose who is a God Knight. So you can see how there are some good options on who the Holy Knights can be. And in the Twitter poll, I did see some takes here about them, let's say, being in the same vein as the royal captains in Bleach. Captains who were that powerful that they could protect the Soul King and they ranked up. But I don't really see, let's say, that sort of Black Clover style rank up system going on for the Holy Knights, because that would, let's say, imply that someone that's lower born in the lower realm could then have status in the Holy Land and have the ability to actually mediate disputes between celestial dragons. Given how they hate the lesser, quote unquote, lesser races so much, I have a hard time believing that anyone could pull the Asta and like rank up to Wizard King as a lowborn. I really, really do. So I would say for the most part, for the Holy Knights, they keep things in-house. They keep things with the purebloods, not the muggles. So on to finally this Twitter poll. Of course, how good could these people really be? And honestly, it is hard to gauge. But keep in mind, a lot of people in the fandom rate the power of Dragon and Sabo very highly, including myself here. So if Dragon, he is saying that they are the real deal, then that's gotta be somewhat true. So based on the poll that I did, it looks like most think that some of them could be stronger than admirals. What, of course, Robin said way back when, during the Long Ring, Long Land arc, the admirals, the folks that were deemed to be the strongest military power that the world government had. Minus apparently the Holy Knights. So once again, based on that poll, most folks view some of them to be stronger than the actual admirals themselves, Kura Fujitora and Kura Greenbull and Kura Kizaru. The second most votes were for a few of them equaling admiral level. The third most votes were for all of them being weaker than admirals, and then lastly, the least votes went to all of them being stronger than admirals. So a lot of takes and the replies, obviously very intriguing stuff here. I would say personally, I can see them being, let's say, akin to a Yonko crew in some respects here, where the captain of the God Knights, like the leader, would be potentially a top 7 strongest characters kind of person. So let's say in the same ballpark as Dragon himself or a Kainu, maybe even might be going as far as Blackbeard. Ooh. That's a high roller. That is a no-nonsense individual. From there, I can see a drop-off in power, and the next strongest people in that group, let's say, be under Admiral level. At most, Admiral level. So this could, let's say, be in the same vein as old school CP9, where you had Rob Lucci at like 4,000 some odd Doriki, and then it drops like significantly from Rabluchi to Kaku and Jabra. Something in that same vein when it comes to the Holy Knights. Honestly, a telling sign of how powerful the Holy Knights could be is the number of folks in this group, especially if it matches the Straw Hat crew members' numbers. So it could really be a person there that's just as powerful as Luffy, and then we're going all the way down to someone as studly as God Usopp. So, of course, these are all still stabs in the dark, but I think that the reveal of the God Knights also does one thing, potentially one thing significantly. It is less likely now that Emu itself is a powerful entity. Not saying it's impossible, of course, but it's less likely now. You have the admirals. We have the soon coming Seraphim that could be more powerful than their actual progenitors themselves. And we still have to see, let's say, as Crocodile, as Flamingo, as Gecko. Let's assume that we have 3 more to go for the Seraphim. Then you have CP0 themselves, Aegis being the shield that guards the World Nobles and the Goros and so on and so forth. And now you have the God Knights? You have the God Knights? God damn. And then let alone the chance that the 5 others themselves are powerful. I mean, bruh. Dude, man. I need to stretch it out real quick. My God. Oh. It just feels like it's a bit much when you have so many layers of very powerful defense and offense. This is a nasty set. But at the same time, the final war is going to be mind-blowing. Oda himself is hyped for the final war, and the world government need to match whatever onslaught is going to roll their way. And in this onslaught, it's very, very likely that ancient weapons are going to be used. Shirahoshi is on our side. Pluton exists where? In Wano country. That's Luffy's territory. Ancient weapons are going to be rolling on up. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, even though it seems like much, there's going to be a lot coming their way on a global scale. And right now, it seems like the Holy Knights are the front runner villains for the final war of the story, especially if, let's say, they have several people that are at or above Admiral level. Oh yeah. If they have several cats like that, then it would not surprise me in the slightest if they were the front runners, the prima villains for the final war of the series. Not a guarantee, but it is possible. But let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoyed this video, and of course my content at large, make sure to rate the video with a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to the channel and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you cats on the flip side.